Hey there, my name is Kai Russell, and I am a balanced body educator with the Authorized Training Center, the Pilates Education Collective, here in Santa Cruz, California. I am so excited to be sharing with you a movement experience that is designed to help you get the most out of your National Relaxation Day. I'm also a certified meditation teacher, practicing in breath work, and also specializing in embodied stress relief. So, we're going to be using a lot of different tools today to help us get ready for relaxation because we all know that it's easier to say we're going to relax sometimes than actually relax. We are going to be using a Pilates deflatable ball from Balanced Body, and we're going to be using it about halfway full. Notice it's not all the way full. And that's all you need. If you don't have a ball, you could also just use a pillow, or you don't even need it at all. All right, let's get to the mat and get going. We're going to start seated on the mat, and you're going to have your deflatable ball with you. And if you don't have a ball, you can use a pillow for several of these exercises, or just omit the ball altogether. Okay. So you can start sitting up on a pillow or just sitting crisscross applesauce like I am on the ground if that's comfortable for your spine. And you're going to just have your physio ball or your deflatable ball near you. And we're going to take a minute to just settle in. And I'm going to invite you to think about what relaxation means for you. Now, the textbook definition, it is the state of being free of tension and anxiety. So free from tension and anxiety. Sounds pretty good, but we all know that that is easier said than done, right? And so one of the things that can happen when we're trying to relax is that if our mind or our body is in an activated state, if we're stressed, then we're not actually able to downshift. Our nervous system isn't ready to go into that relaxation state. And so that's why sometimes if you're feeling, really stressed and somebody tells you to just relax, it often has the opposite of the intended effect, right? I don't know about you, but that's not really a great way to get me to calm down or relax is when somebody tells me that, right? When I'm not in that state. So what we're going to do today is a movement sequence that is going to help us actually downshift our nervous system into parasympathetic tone so that we can actually be able to relax so that then we can enjoy some stillness, joy, some ease, and peace. Sound good? Okay. So I invite you to take a minute and look around the space that you're in. I'm obviously here on a beautiful beach, one of the most relaxing places that I know here in Santa Cruz. And just notice something in your room or wherever you are that just gives you a little spark, a little bit of pleasant sensation. Maybe there's a nice color or there's a texture that looks appealing to you or a plant, whatever it is. Just notice that for a minute and notice that it's sharing the space with you. And maybe you're going to borrow the beautiful waves behind me, and please do so if you like. But then we're going to let that awareness now travel internally, and we're going to feel our seat on the ground and just like a little shift side to side to feel those sits bones underneath you. You might also be choosing to sit in a chair for this beginning, and that is fabulous. And then just start drawing little circles with our rib cage. So letting our rib kind of move gently in a circle as we still feel very weighted on the ground and feel how our pelvis responds as we move. And then we're going to reverse the circle. And noticing that we can feel really grounded and rooted at one end of the spine, while the other part of the spine is a little more mobile and free. We're going to play with that grounded sensation throughout class where we can get that stability and maybe comfort, ease, or even safety from that feeling of earth underneath them. And then we're going to let the circles become a little side shift. So I'm shifting my ribs to the side, just letting myself breathe, not really directing your breath quite yet, just letting breath flow. And almost imagining or perhaps imagining that you've got these deep roots into the ground and just like the trunk of a tree that's really strong, but also flexible, you're able to move without losing that connection to earth and to center. Good. And then now pausing, roll our shoulders. And we're going to let one arm lift up and we're going to follow it with our eyes. So just following the gaze, let the gaze follow the hands as you lengthen back. So going nice and slow so we don't get dizzy. We're going to add in a breath now. Breathing in as the hand reaches up and then exhaling to return back to center. And then inhaling up and around and back to center. Good. And now we're going to do a little nervous system reset with our eyes. If this makes you feel at all uncomfortable, dizzy, nauseous, please stop the eye movement and just continue regular gaze and regular breath. But we're going to try something that helps us kind of shift our nervous system. So we're going to use our eyes, the connection from our eyes to our brain, actually, and we're going to turn our eyes all the way to the side. We're not turning the head, just the eyes. So it's like you're looking at something off to the side and maybe even slightly up, so kind of the top corner of your eye. And you're going to hold your eyes there as you're breathing. And you can still do this even if sight is not available to you. You can just move the eyes in the socket and get a nice stretch through the eyes there as well. And if you notice any sighs or yawns or anything, let those move through. I practice this a lot, and I start to feel it pretty quickly. My nervous system's really primed for this exercise. And then let your eyes come back center. Pause there. Take a breath, and we're going to turn our eyes in the other direction. Breathing in. And exhale, release. This is also a really good exercise to do in the middle of the night when you wake up and can't go back to sleep. It can help quiet your mind. You'll take 2 more slow breaths. Then bring yourself back to center and give a little wiggle and a little shake. Good. Just shake out whatever kind of that brought up. And now I'm going to share a little quote with you before we continue. And perhaps we just played with this a little bit, but it's a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. And he says, many of us have been running all our lives. Practice stopping. And so for today's class, that's what I'm offering up to you as a chance to just stop and relax if we can, but definitely just stop. So don't even worry about the relaxation. Just stop. Even when we're in movement, noticing the stillness that might be present. Okay. So now we're going to take our ball and we're going to place it on our belly. And then we're going to breathe in deep into the belly and let the belly actually press into the ball just a little bit. And then on the exhale, you'll notice the belly kind of gently pulls away. You're not overdoing that, but just allowing it to happen. Breathing in, practicing stopping, and then release. Good. Breathing in, and exhale. And one more breath. We're practicing our deep belly breath, which is a relaxing breath. helps our nervous system downshift. For most of us. If it doesn't work that way for you, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It just means that we'll find another pathway. You don't have to keep forcing a breath that doesn't feel relaxing to you. It's always important to remember. And then now if your eyes are closed, let them ground a little more. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And I invite you to think of an intention for the rest of our class. What do you need today? What does your body need? What does your mind need? Do you need to stop, practice those moments of stillness? Do you need a little more flow and movement? And offer that up to yourself. Just say, okay, that's my intention for our class, and I'm going to make choices that kind of serve that intention and feel right in the moment. And then we're going to reach our arms up and then let those arms lie down. And from there, we're going to come over into all fours. And we're going to place our hands under our shoulders and our knees under our hips. And you're going to breathe and reaching the chest up, reaching the tail up. And then exhale, rounding the spine, pressing into the earth, feeling that contact still there with your hands and your knees. Inhale, just keep going at your own pace here, letting the movement match your breath. Inhale, breathing in as you extend, and then exhaling out, rounding through the spine. Good. 2 more. And then this last one, we're actually now going to start to circle our pelvis around. Let our pelvis circle. We're going to let our whole body move. The head, the shoulders, the ribs are all moving, responding to the circle from the tail. And then you're going to pause and reverse, letting that tailbone circle around, just finding any places in your spine that might need a little movement, a little clearing. And then I invite you to take a second and make whatever kind of movements feel good for you on your spine in this position. So maybe we're rocking forward or side, taking a side bend, a little more rotation, whatever you feel you need. Good. And then from there, we're actually going to come down onto our forearms. And we're going to work on a little hip opening, hip movement. So we're going to float, then lifting one leg, the knee will be bent, foot reaching towards sky. And then we're going to circle it around to the side. So taking some nice, juicy circles here. And we are pushing the ground away from us. So we're really feeling that nice connection, keeping our shoulder blades neutral. We're not collapsing into them and letting them release or retract. And just noticing what you notice through your hip. Maybe we're building up a little warmth. And then we're going to reverse the circle, letting the leg circle around. Just gently breathing as you go. Keeping a little bit of abdominal tone so you can breathe into the back of the ribs here. And then we'll lower our leg. Pause for a minute. Make any adjustments and we'll go to the other side. So we're going to lift the leg and then float it around to the side and coming back. And we are definitely trying to stabilize the rest of the torso, trying to stay centered as much as possible, but also really looking for ease. Where can we find some stillness and quiet? Can we relax our jaw a little bit? Can we breathe a little deeper somewhere? And then we're going to reverse that circle. Almost imagining like the head of our femur is giving a nice little massage to our acetabulum, to that hip socket. We're going to do 2 more here. Well done. Good. And then we're just going to let ourselves shift back into a little child's pose. So knees are going to be nice and wide, and we're going to be lengthening over, letting our forehead come down to a comfortable position. And maybe we're going to put our ball there. Let our head rest on our ball if that feels good to you. And you're going to breathe in, really breathing into the space through the back body. So the back of the ribs, the low back. And you're going to take a hold of your mat and hold onto it with your hands like you're gripping it. And you're going to pull your mat away from you. And with the intention of letting that tailbone lengthen even further down. So having a nice kind of sturdy mat helps with this. And we're pushing down, stretching through the back, getting a stretch into that nice low back region. Breathing in, so you're pulling the mat forward, which is helping that tailbone kind of connect a little deeper. One more breath. Good. And then we're going to stack our spine up. And we're going to come around and place the ball in between our knees. And we're going to roll ourselves down. We're going to take one long, slow breath. And as you're rolling, you're going to hum down, which actually really helps our nervous system relax. So we're going to breathe in. You can use support on the legs or arms long. And you're going to hum. I know it feels silly, but keep going. Try to really let that hum guide you all the way down until your spine is nice and flat, making contact with the mat. Good. And then we're going to take the ball and place it underneath our pelvis, letting the pelvis kind of settle down. And we're going to do a little clocking here on this ball that's about halfway full of air. And you're going to let the pubic bone lengthen up, and then let the tailbone reach back towards the ground. And this ball is placed right underneath your sacrum. It might be touching your lower back a little bit, but it is definitely not on your lower back, right? So it is on the bones of your sacrum, and the lower back is free. There's no pressure. Your weight is not coming down through the lower back. It's only coming down through the sacrum. So make sure you pull the ball. A lot of us, it needs to come closer to our tailbone than we anticipate. And then let this turn into a circle. Circling around, letting the pelvis roll. We have the clock analogy, where there's a clock sitting on the face of your pelvis. You're trying to hit every single hour as you roll around. And then we're going to reverse that circle. Breathing here. Nice and gentle breath. Letting the movement match your breath pace. And then we're going to return ourselves back to almost a neutral, but a little bit of a posterior tilt. And we're going to float one leg to tabletop. And you might stay here, or if you like, you're going to float the other leg up. Good. And so we're either going to have one leg down, stretching the opposite leg out and in for 6, or we'll have both legs up and we'll alternate. Either way, you're going to exhale deep in that little connection, almost like you have on a pair of suspenders across the front of your torso, and you're really pulling up the low suspenders to prevent the pelvis from tipping and the lower spine from extending. Good. Keep going here. Letting your breath guide your motion. Your breath is helping you engage that deep core. And it's also letting your nervous system understand that we can find some stillness here. Even while we're on this wobbly ball that feels a little bit unstable. And then we're going to come back and challenge our stability just a little more. We're in a tabletop position. We're going to inhale, open one leg small out to the side, and then pull back in. So we're going to avoid, we're not going to let our spine rotate on the ball, and coming back in. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale, return. Good. Feeling this nice stability through here. We're trying not to grip anywhere. And last one. Good. Then lower the feet down. Lift the ball up. And we're going to lower our pelvis down. Notice how nice and open your sacrum might feel now that we've removed the ball. And we're going to place the ball between our thighs and make sure, depending on how deflated your ball is, if it's too flat and we're holding it at our knees, then we might lose our kind of alignment through our knees to our feet. So we still want to have proper alignment here, knees lining up over the second toes coming out from the hip bones, the ASIS, little jutty outy bones. And we're going to tip our pelvis, rolling up in the spine to a bridge. And you're going to pause there and then roll back down. Inhale and exhale, rolling up. The next time, we're going to add in the arms lengthening overhead. Leaving the arms behind, we're going to slowly lower down, one vertebra at a time, reaching that spine out longer, and then arms float by our side. Exhale, tipping the pelvis, rolling up, and then inhale, float the arms over, and then exhale, slowly lowering down. Getting longer through the spine each time, arms float by your side. And then we're going to lift those hips up. Now we're going to shift to a flat back. So with a flat back, we're going to hinge our hips down and then exhale, lifting back up from underneath. Still keeping our ribs and pelvis talking to each other. So we're not flaring our ribs up, coming up too high on the neck. We got 2 more to go here. Going great. Just building up a little more heat. And then we're going to slowly lower it down, letting that tailbone float down. And give yourself a nice little release. We're going to take our ball away for a moment. Arms are going to go out to the side in a goalpost position. And we're going to turn our knees and hips to one side. And you can actually put the ball so that your knees are going to fall onto the ball. Knees do not have to be stacked. Have them a little apart. And then the head's going to turn in the opposite direction. And we're going to breathe in here. And then exhale. And we're going to come back up. And if you like the sensation of the ball, you're going to move it to the other side. So you just have something to rest on there. And then you're going to rotate away, keeping the chest open, breathing in. And then we're going to return. Now, we're going to go back to the first side so you can move your ball. And then we're going to add in the eyes. So if you enjoyed the eye movement from earlier, now as your head is turning, say your head is turning to the left, like mine is, your eyes are going to turn to the right. So kind of like they're looking up to the sky. And you want to place your lower body in a really comfortable position. You're not in too much rotation. And breathe in here. And then exhale, relax or release. Breathing in. And release. And then pull yourself back to center with control. And we'll go last time to the other side. So legs will rotate over, pelvis is opening, and then chest is staying nice and wide on the ground. Head is turning in the opposite direction, and then eyes are going back up towards the sky. Breathing in. And then bring yourself back to center. But we're going to cross. Just take a minute, actually, and notice how you're feeling. Perhaps take a little wiggle or a yawn. And we're going to do a little stretch here. We're going to cross one leg over into a figure 4 position, flexing the foot. And we're going to reach up if that feels comfortable for us. We can also put our foot on top of the ball, making sure the goal here is not to, be super unstable and have to work with that. It's just a little lift if that feels comfortable. Or if you prefer a deeper stretch, you'll hold onto your thigh. And you're going to breathe in here. And then we're going to intensify this just a little bit if you like. And you're going to roll your pelvis. So if the right leg's on top, you're going to roll your pelvis to the left. So you're rolling your pelvis slightly towards the leg that you're holding on to, and you're breathing in, just enjoying that yummy stretch through the back of the hip. And then we're going to pulling back center, lower down, and we'll switch to the other side. Perhaps using the ball, give you just a little bit of lift and deeper stretch. And if you want a deeper stretch still, you can hold onto the back of your thigh. Breathing in. And remember, just because we can do something doesn't mean that we should. So you don't always have to choose the hardest option. Remember your intention. If you can make a choice that supports that. And then rolling towards the leg that you're holding or the leg that might be on the ball. Breathing into the back of the hip. And then returning. And we're going to just lengthen our legs down long. And take a minute just to integrate and feel everything we've done. We're going to do a little release. You're going to take your toes and your feet, and your heels are really grounded into the earth, and you're going to flick your toes. And notice that my whole body, I'm allowing it to release. It's actually kind of hard. You got to let everything go. We're not holding. I'm seeing if we can even move our whole body so much that our head is going to nod gently as we do this. And then let that just relax, settle out. And then our last thing we're going to do with the ball, you're going to take this ball and place it behind your head. Now, here's where it gets very important that our ball be the right amount of inflatedness or really deflated enough. So if when you open your eyes, you're looking towards your knees, your ball has too much air. We really want the ball to kind of just lift the head slightly, but not to make it nod or change position. So we're still trying to keep the head kind of relatively connected to the spine. So really, you can have very little air for this, depending on kind of how wide or broad your rib cage is. And we're just going to let our head kind of soften into the ball. Once again, there's not a lot of pressure on the neck. The ball is definitely touching the neck, but the weight of the head is coming down through the weight of the head and not through the neck. And we're going to just very gently nod the head yes. Letting this movement come really far back in the neck. So thinking about nodding the back of the head and letting your eyes really get heavy in the sockets here. And you can have knees bent if that's the most comfortable on your lower back, or you could have knees long if that feels better for you. So find a position that works for you. You could even have knees rolled together, feet wide. And just letting the head feel very light, like it's being held on a little tuft of air. And very, very gently nodding yes. And then let that settle into stillness. Practice stopping. And then we're going to turn the head like we're turning no. And just letting the head kind of roll gently side to side. You're turning your ear to hear something to the side. Really heavy head, heavy eyes. Slow, deep breaths. Can we find something to soften? Something to release? And then let your head come back to stillness. And let's start making a little circle. Keeping the head really heavy on the ball, circling around. Almost, maybe these circles are so small that I can't see them. Don't have to be big to be powerful. And then letting your head settle. stopping there and then reversing the circle. Little tiny movements. Letting anything that needs to move through just come out with the breath. And then find that stopping point. And I invite you to think back to your intention and what it was that you needed today. And we're going to write that intention with our nose on our ball. So I suggest cursive. It works a little better. And you're going to just say it's freedom is the word that you're inviting into your body. And make sure we don't choose a negative word here. So we wouldn't want to say no pain. Instead, we could say ease or peace or comfortable. So try to make it a positive word that you're going to choose. And you're just going to write that out, keeping that head nice and heavy, letting your head make all the little movements it needs with freedom and ease. And then when you're done, you're going to settle your head back on the ball. Breathing in. And just practice stopping. And then we're going to allow our attention to slowly start to expand back into the space around us. Perhaps opening the eyes and noticing what's around us, but still trying to keep that nice heavy sensation through the eyes, letting them rest softly in the socket. And then when you're ready, you're going to roll to your side, keeping your head on the ball. So you're going to move the ball with you so that your head is supported. And we're going to pause here for a minute, breathing in. And then you're going to use your arms to bring yourself up back to a seated position. And then just let that settle in. Notice the head. Maybe there is a little more freedom. Might feel a little spacey. And so checking back in, feeling the hips grounded down into the earth. That gives us that ability to be really peaceful and easeful through the upper body. And then we're going to reach our arms up. And you're going to bring one on top and give yourself a big hug. And you're actually going to find something to thank yourself. Perhaps it's to thank yourself for. Perhaps it's showing up for this class today. And you're going to breathe into that space behind your heart. And really pouring your thanks into there. Because you know that when you take care of yourself, you're actually taking care of your community, your family, everyone around you benefits too. And then we're going to let our arms drop and reach up. And now the other arm's going to come on top. And give yourself another thanks just for being you. And breathing in and exhale. And then we're going to finish with one of my favorite breath releases called the horse lip breath. You might have done this once upon a time when you were a kid. Really helps relax the jaw and just integrate everything we've done. You're going to breathe in and exhale, breathe out of the lips. I know, if it feels silly, all the better. And you're going to breathe in, exhale, and last time, breathe in, and exhale. Well done. Such a delight getting to share this with you. I hope you find something that'll help you find some more relaxation and ease in your day to day and maybe every day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video from Balanced Body. Take care.